Hey everybody, welcome to the Leadership Mastermind podcast. I am your host, Mitch Peak, and this is my co-host, Laura Brandeo. How are you doing, Laura?
Hello, Mitch. I am looking forward to our wonderful guest today, and I would love to introduce everyone to Kayla Laos. She is the winner, a mom boss, and a real estate technology fanatic, and a social media enthusiast. Kayla has 5 musts in her life. Number 1, win. She works every day with her husband and her best friend, Jason. Number 2, win. She is the parent of 2 of the most amazing kids in the world. Number 3, win. Together they own JK Realty. They sell lots of homes and they just created a cool real estate software, Zoodlio. 4, win. Everything they do has a positive impact on others' lives. They give glory to their creator, and they also squeeze all the juice out of this one life that we have. And number 5, Kayla also wants to connect with all of you on Facebook and Instagram at Kayla Laos. Well, Kayla, on the Leadership Mastermind podcast, we want to provide our audience with insights and perspectives from our industry experts so they can learn, grow, and be inspired to be a leader to their clients and their teams. Okay, Mitch, let's jump right in.
All right. Hello, Kayla. Welcome.
Well, thank you so much. And wow, Laura, I love your intro. That was really neat. Thank you so much, you guys. I'm super thrilled to be here today and just share and, hopefully inspire others to live their best life as well. So thanks for having me.
Awesome. Well, I tell you what, we'll get started quickly for the audience here. So tell us, what are your 3 key pillars to leadership?
My 3 key pillars to leadership. So this is the first time I'm hearing this question from you. And so just really thinking off the cuff here, I'm going to have to say, number 1 is clarity. For anyone that you're looking to lead, you have to know what the objectives are, right? What is important to the mission, to the organization, to the individual. So you're going to need clarity. You really can't move forward, from a good perspective until you know what everybody wants and what they want to achieve. I think that one of the most interesting things to me being in leadership now for over 17 years is not everybody is motivated by the same thing. And so when you're working with a team, especially when you're trying to accomplish a big goal, you have to know also not only what the objectives are for the organization or the mission, but you have to know what's important to the individual as well. So I think that number 1, I would say, is clarity. You have to get real clear. I think that number 2 would be accountability. Well, actually, we're going to skip. Number 2 is action. So leadership pillar is action, right? If you're a leader, being a leader is not a call to do less. It's a call to do more. So when you're in a leadership position, you got to get really down and dirty, and you got to be willing to do the work. And so I think that, a lot of us think of leaders as those that just sit around and delegate, but no, it's not just that. It's actually getting down and dirty and getting in the trenches. And then I would say number 3 is accountability. So when you're clear on the objective and when you're doing the work, you have to keep people accountable to the goal. I think that being an entrepreneur, the best thing about being an entrepreneur is, technically we have no boss, right? But because we have no boss, that's also our Achilles heel. So I think that being accountable and accountable to, the mission and the goal and your people and the action is extremely important. And I would say that's my number 3.
Wow, that is awesome. And all of those are fantastic, and we're going to dive into them. So let's start with clarity. Sounds to me like you're saying you have to listen, you have to watch, and you have to make decisions on the best way to communicate, guide, inspire, motivate, and hold accountable to the individual on your team. Because it's not so much just presenting the mission, and it's not just holding them accountable, it's how to do all of those things uniquely to that individual. Would you agree with that? And how do you go about that?
Yes, 100%. We need to listen. We need to see what motivates the individual. And absolutely, I think that, one of the things that I love to do as a leader is recognize. Because I know that for many individuals, recognition is extremely important. I mean, I'm a huge study of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? And beyond the basic, survival, the food, water, shelter, right? Our need for love and recognition and for belonging is extremely important. And I believe that, as a group, when we can come together and we can work together at our highest and best, we can accomplish really amazing things. And so I think that, if you're in a leadership position, even we're all in a leadership position, right? That's the interesting thing. Like, not everybody gets that, but we're all leaders. We're all leading someone, something, and maybe it's just our children, right? Maybe it's others at work, but we're all in a leadership position. And I think that if you can really stop and really see what others are doing and recognize them and, give them a pat on the back and, be a support for them. I mean, my goodness, that goes a long way. I look, back at the mentors that have been instrumental in my life and in my career. And there's a common thread to all of them. I think that number one, they're all very positive individuals. So I think that, the individual that has a can-do attitude and that really believes anything is possible, just an extremely positive person, not only is that person going to be just kind of contagious, because we all want to be around that energy. Unfortunately, even the negative Nellies want to be around that energy, right? They just want to suck it out from them. But I think that, when you're around people that are very positive and inspiring and believe that anything is possible and encouraging and give you a little pat on the back, it goes a long way. So I look back at the mentors in my life and I know that that's been just a common thread, that they've really just believed, they've really encouraged. And so that's something that I try and take going forward is, hey, we will all make mistakes. Your team members will make mistakes. Your admin will do the stupidest things. And you'll just want to But one of the things that I try and do is I try and give more recognition to the good that I see than the bad, right? Because I believe that what you focus on expands. And so when you're in a team environment and when, your team members are doing amazing things, you got to recognize that. You got to celebrate that. And then you'll get more of it. So, yeah.
When you talk about, recognition, I've been in sales for 20 plus years, and, some people like recognition in private. They like a pat on the back. Hey, you're doing a great job. Other people like a big celebration. Here's an award, an acrylic award to put on your desk and, in front of the whole the whole staff. So how do you do that? Do you do it all the same, or do you seek out to provide that recognition in different ways for your people?
Sure. So that's such a good point, right? And by the way, Mitch, that beard is that's awesome. You're just full send on that beard right now. I love it. So yeah, I think that, it really, you're not going to know right offhand how the individuals, that you're leading, how they like to be recognized, right? So I think it's important that you recognize in a variety of ways. And what you'll find is that people start to show up to be recognized. That's a really interesting thing. I have a real estate brokerage, JK Realty, in Gilbert, Arizona, and we've had as many as 250 agents in our our care. And I think that one of the interesting things is as you show how you give recognition, people will show up to be recognized. So here's a great example. So one of the things that we do is we have, of course, like many organizations, we have a private Facebook mastermind group. And in that private Facebook mastermind group, it is kind of a no judgment zone. You can ask any question, you can get any question answered, and nobody's going to shame you for not knowing, right? And so one of the things that I knew was going to be very important is that other individuals from the organization would step up and really answer those questions and really mentor and share with each other. And so we started giving out a monthly Facebook Mastermind award. So every month at our sales meeting, we would recognize an individual who for the past month had really inspired and served in the group, right? And so what was interesting is as soon as we started making that award public, more people would start vying for the award. And so I think that, it's a great example of once you start making public how you're giving recognition, people will show up to be recognized, and it's really cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you brought up such a good point when you were speaking about our needs as human beings. That is such a valuable point because you're right. First, it's our basic needs, right? Of course, we need to have food and water and have, roof over our head and all that. But then it's beyond that. And we all need to feel appreciated, and we all need to feel heard and seen and recognized. And it's so interesting to me that sometimes people think you have to throw a party to celebrate someone, but sometimes it's just that great job, or it's just making that post in your intranet or on your platform that you use internally and calling someone out to recognize them that, like you said, they will show up. So that is fantastic. And Kayla, I'd love to go back. You mentioned you were up to 250 agents, which is incredible at one point. How did it start? How did JK Realty start?
It started a long time ago. I've been selling real estate since Jesus was a baby. And
I don't think that's accurate, but okay.
A long time. So in 2007, my husband and I were selling real estate at the time for Century 21, and we were the #1 team in the Southwest region of the United States. We were just killing it, and our operations kind of demanded that we needed a little bit more space. We wanted to open up our own kind of satellite office, but at the time, that was just a no-no, right? It was like for brokers under the Century 21 umbrella, it was just really frowned upon to allow someone to go open an outside office under your brand umbrella. And so we really didn't want to leave the company, but because we weren't able to open up a satellite office, I went and got my broker's license and we started JK Realty, and it's not just kidding, we mean business. My husband's name is Jason, I'm Kayla, so that's where the JK came from. We're super original. And we started selling real estate in 2007, and the market crashed. It just tanked, right? And so here we are now we had just built this multi-million-dollar custom home. We had just built out this beautiful office. We were killing it. I think I was 25 at the time, maybe 24, 25, and lost everything when the market crashed. I mean, it was a terrible few months, but we recovered quickly. I would say that is a secret to success, is being able to adapt. I've now been through many, many markets, and I think that being able to adapt is the key to survival, right? And so we pivoted quickly, started doing short sales, started doing foreclosures, quickly garnered a lot of attention from asset managers. I ended up being the only broker in the state of Arizona that had a contract with Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, HUD, Bank of America, and we were the top REO brokerage here in the Phoenix Metroplex. So really, we were selling REOs and really didn't have the goal of expanding the brokerage at the time. And then REO started to die down, right? And so here we are with all of this amazing knowledge on how to sell real estate, and decided that, it's time for us to step up and serve and support others and share with them how they can get out there and build an amazing life and an amazing business that they love. And so we started recruiting agents, and that's how it all kind of got started.
Oh my goodness.
Well, let's go back to 2008, because I think there's a great piece of, information there for the audience. So 2008 comes, you just put your neck on the line. You went out and built a home, built a new office. You're all gung-ho, ready to go. Then the crash happens. You're at the bottom, right?
Yes.
So nothing could go worse. So what allowed you and Jason to get on your feet and go back after it? Because, that might have been the end for a lot of people.
And it sure was. That's the interesting thing. It was the end for many, many, many realtors. I think that what it was is the knowledge that transactions were still happening, right? And, we knew that real estate hadn't flatlined. There were still real estate transactions happening. We just had to go find out where. And at the time, it started with short sales, right? There were tons of short sales. And so I had a background in law, and I had worked for an attorney for 5 years, starting when I was 17. I was actually my dad. But so I wasn't scared of, the legal aspects of short sales. I wasn't scared of contracts. I wasn't scared of paperwork. I could just get right in there and get dirty with it, and didn't bother me. And so I think that that's kind of, we just went where the transactions were happening and started, just diving in. And once we started doing the short sales, we had landed our first REO account. And at the time it was with Countrywide. You guys remember them?
Of course.
Yeah, so it was Countrywide anyway. So yeah, I think that just not being scared to completely change your business model when the times dictate. Now, I'm not saying that, you chase every bright, shiny object. That is absolutely not what I'm saying. But, in those unprecedented times in 2007, 2008, I mean, there was, you had to adapt or you were going to die.
Yeah. And you are correct, Kayla. The number one secret of success is adaptability. So you are correct. The minute that you realize that nothing is a constant. We all know that real estate and mortgages is a constant cycle. You're going to have highs, you're going to have lows. And it's interesting, when I was preparing for this interview, I was watching some of your videos online, and I was watching you do a sales meeting to your team when you were speaking about how long the properties were staying online and on the market. I think this was in 2018. And as I was watching, I was thinking to myself, wow, what a difference the market is in 2020 and 21 compared to what you were saying. And you were telling your team, it's okay that they may stay on the market for 100 days. And now, of course, things are flying off the market. So it just goes to show you that wasn't that long ago. It wasn't that long ago that properties were sitting for a few months, and it will continue to change. So you have to reinvent yourself. And tying into that, I want to hear about your thoughts and concepts about social media from a real estate perspective. I know that you are very comfortable being out there on video, on social, putting yourself out there in your brand. How important is that on the real estate side?
Well, it's super important. And in fact, I'm going to take a little, I'm going to take a moment and do a little Instagram story right now. Hey guys, really excited to be here with you this morning. I'm doing a leadership podcast with Mitch and Laura, so you'll have to tune in. Thanks for watching.
And yes, it is that important.
It is. It's super important. So you just gave me a little opportunity to sneak a story. And, I think that, well, let's face it, Facebook is the best CRM ever created, right? And if you use it well, and if you leverage it well, I think that you can do amazing things. So I wasn't on Facebook. I was a holdout. And back in about 2014, when I started to grow the brokerage, everybody was like, Kayla, you have to get on Facebook. And I'm like, no, are you kidding me?
So like, my mom is on Facebook. I'm not going over there.
I wanted nothing to do with this whole social media stuff, right? And look at me now, right? And I wouldn't have met Mitch, I wouldn't have met you had it not been for social media. And it's just an amazing way to just really share your message at scale and reach many, many individuals. There's no way that we could have the impact that we have without using social media. So I'm a huge fan. I think it's absolutely paramount to success in real estate. If you are a real estate agent or if you are a mortgage officer, you have to be on here. You have to be using it. Exactly what you guys are doing. I think that creating a podcast, Laura, I saw that you also have a YouTube show, and just doing those consistent pieces. I think you even do like a motivational Monday.
I do.
Yeah. So I think that, well, and the interesting thing is when I started out, I did a Monday motivation. And that was the kind of my start into social media is I would do a Monday motivation. And I loved that I called it the Monday motivation because you can't go Facebook Live on Tuesday with a Monday motivation.
Right? Right.
So you have one little window there, right?
Exactly. So it has the accountability piece tied in. I'm really big on accountability. And so it had that kind of like tied into it, which I loved. And so for anyone listening, I think that how you can really up your game is do a YouTube show, do a Facebook Live, do a podcast, just do something, one of those, and make it consistent, do it consistently. And then I think that engagement is really underrated in the real estate community. You always know the individuals that don't engage with others because they don't get any engagement back, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's such a valid point, and something I want to dive into. The word social media, okay? People think that it's media. Okay, we get it. We get the media component. But what a lot of people don't realize is the social is the most important part. So what you just said, you can't put something out and not socialize with the engagement, because just what you said, you get out what you put in. So when you have that engagement, it will grow and it will be more out of it. But if you just put something out there, but there's no socializing, what do you expect to happen? It's supposed to be socialization. And as humans, that goes back to one of our basic needs again.
Yes, love and recognition, right? And so if you are, in real estate, I think one of the best ways to stay connected with your community is to create a Facebook list. Keep all of your clients or your future clients in a list, and then every day go through that list and comment and like on anybody's posts, right? Anything that they post, you're going to comment and you're going to like on it. Even if it's like, wow, that breakfast, that looks amazing. I'm going to have to try that place out. I mean, just even something so simple, because see, I think what we don't realize is that the average person that's out there posting on social, they're generally not getting a ton of engagement. And their networks are usually a lot smaller. And so if we are the ones that are constantly posting, guess what's going to happen? When they need to make a move, they're going to think of you. And when they hear someone that wants to make a move, they're going to think of you. And so I think that that's it's just a hack. I think nobody is using Facebook lists right now. I know it because I meet with dozens and dozens of real estate professionals every month, and nobody's using Facebook lists. And so I think it's a really, really cool tool that you can leverage.
Definitely. The Facebook list is definitely something that, people should be using, but the problem is when you have 3,000 people, it's hard to go through and get them separated. So what I've seen, people do, it takes a year, but do it on birthdays. Every day, go in, look at the people you have on your birthdays, send them a message. Don't write on their wall, send them a message. And then when you're doing that, add them to the list of whichever they would need to be. If they're, loan officers, future clients, other realtors, whatever, add them to that list. And then you can do that. And then within a year, you got your 3,000 or 5,000 contacts, separated out. And, you can use those lists when you're posting to, attract that audience.
Yeah, that's an excellent tip. I'm going to have to leverage that one.
Yeah, that one works well. And like I said, I always suggest using sending people a video when it's their birthday on Messenger, because that just, is impactful. I get so many people respond back and be like, man, I really appreciate that. Most people just send me a happy birthday, and I get 1,000 of them, but it's nice to see something, something different. So let's skip over action and let's talk about accountability, because you're very big on recognition. And so I want to know, how do you hold people accountable and still keep that same positive vibe going?
Sure. Well, I think that, a lot of us were raised on a lot of shame and a lot of judgment. And, when we didn't do maybe what we needed to do, we were asked, why? Why didn't you do that? Or why did you do that? Right. And I'm guilty of doing that to my kids often. Right. And I have to stop myself. And I think the biggest thing is just to be a witness, not a judge. And I think that, if someone says something is important to them, right? I have an agent that says, it's really important to me that this year I hit 250 GCI. Well, we're gonna reverse engineer why that's important to them, and we're gonna get to the root of why that's important to them. And usually it's because they want a better life for their family, or they're wanting to have more freedom, and maybe they're wanting to have a second home to go create experiences at, right? So we're gonna figure out the root of that monetary goal that they have. And then, when it comes to holding them accountable to, the day in, the day out, it's not going to be, why didn't you make your calls? Instead, it's going to go from a why to a what got in the way? What got in the way of you making those phone calls? And, people are going to give a lot of excuses, and it's usually going to be like, oh, well, this came up or that came up, or it's usually going to be some sort of excuse of something that came up. And we're going to dig deeper, and we're going to get to the root of what's really going on underneath the surface. And what I have found in mentoring agents is that, generally it's fear. It's fear of picking up the phone. It's fear of rejection. It's fear of putting themselves out there. If they say they want more business and they say they're going to commit to doing a weekly Facebook Live, and they do 2 of them and then they don't ever do another one, it's usually because they're scared, right? And nobody wants to talk about this, and leaders don't want to talk about this. And you will sit in conferences, you will sit in meetings, and you will hear everybody just beat around the bush, and nobody wants to get to the real root of the problem. And the real root of the problem is when we're not doing what we know we should be doing to create a better lives for ourselves and for our family members. And listen, my espresso machine is going off, so it's making a loud noise in the background. Listen, I am speaking to myself right now. I am speaking to myself. Because when I'm not doing what I know I need to be doing, it's fear. It's fear of being judged. It's fear of being ridiculed. It's fear of not being good enough. It's fear of putting yourselves out there and oh my God, I'm going to put this out there and nobody's going to watch it. Or I'm going to put this out there and oh my God, everybody's going to watch it, right? It's like the fears run the gamut. And so I really like to get to the root of what's going on. And, sometimes it is some circumstances, this person's not doing what they know they need to be doing because maybe they just got slammed with 3 new escrows, right? I get it, all that aside. But generally, when we're looking at growth, we're looking at what's getting in the way, and we're taking it from a shift of why didn't you do this to let's discover. Let's do some self-discovery here. Self-discovery is the highest form of learning. You can tell someone what to do, right? Or you can help them down the path of discovering it for themselves. And so that is the highest form of learning. And so when they can self-discover what's really going on, and then we have awareness. And once we have awareness, then we can change behavior. And so that's kind of, it's not fun. It's not always fun, and it's uncomfortable. But what we all know is that's where the growth is.
Absolutely. Yeah, Laura and I were just talking before the show here about, putting yourself out there. I don't know if you know, but Laura just released her first ever single book yesterday. And we're just talking about, how much more that was putting yourself out there rather than just, video or being on stage. The book is a whole new level of uncomfortable. And,
But Kayla, everything you were just saying is exactly, I wrote that last night. That when I came up with the goal of writing a book, I thought to myself, I've got this. I've done so many great things in my life, and I have no fear. I can do this. And then as the time got closer and closer to a book launch, I literally thought to myself, there is not a chance anyone's going to read this. What was I thinking? And just what you just said, oh my God, what if they do read it? So one fear is they're not going to read it, and the other fear is, oh my goodness, what if they do? Kayla, you're correct. We all have those fears, and I don't care who you are. I don't care what person you are on this earth. Every single one of us has it. But what you just said, to give the gift to our teams, to our families, to our friends, to everyone, to actually say, I understand. And let's sit down and let's get to the root of this, of what that fear is. And we're going to overcome it together. That is absolutely priceless. So thank you for doing that for your teams, because I could imagine they're very successful with having that guidance from you.
I would say two of the most powerful things you can say to any other human being is, I understand and I'm proud of you.
I agree.
Those two things can make a difference in any conversation that you have with another human being.
100%. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. So, okay, I need to hear about Zoodlio. Number one, I love the name and I need to understand the name. So let's have Zoodlio and then tell us what it is.
Sure. So, okay. So back in, I think, 2018, me and my partners started a company called Offervana. And iBuyers were really big here in the Phoenix market. We're kind of like ground zero for iBuyers. And so you've probably heard of Open Door, right? OfferPad. Zillow is now doing the instant cash offers. So we started an offer aggregator where we had a website and we would advertise that, hey, we'll get you multiple instant cash offers on your home. And we launched Offervana after developing it for about 8 months, spending a lot of money, and we were wildly successful with Offervana. I mean, we were stoked, right? We launched the software and we were getting sellers to submit their houses to us. They were giving us like 20 pictures of their house. I remember we got one where we pull up the pictures and there's like a tennis court in the backyard. We're getting listings. We're getting people that are accepting instant cash offers online without ever even meeting them. We scored a portfolio of 15 homes. So we had some amazing success. And then we got sued by OfferPad. OfferPad sued us because we were using the word offer in our name. Yeah, so very interesting.
But not Carvana. Carvana didn't have the issue. Just
OfferPad was kind enough to send the CEO of Carvana, our company, and Carvana actually, they didn't see any infringement and they didn't go after us. Yeah. So we were in a lawsuit in the United States District Court, which, let me tell you, it's not fun and it's extremely expensive. And our attorney at the time was telling us, you know, look, you may win this lawsuit, right? And you may win after $250,000 in attorney fees. But what will happen if you win is OfferPad can appeal it. And then they could saddle you with more attorney fees. And so technically, the term that we were told by our attorneys, this is trademark bullying. And it is a tactic used by well-funded companies to keep out the up-and-coming competitors at bay. And as a result of this lawsuit, we decided, you know what? These billion-dollar bullies, they're trying to take down the real estate industry. And, you know, I think it's so interesting. In fact, Inman just had their Connect last week and they had their Tech Connect. And I think it was the CEO of Orchard that said, or it may have been Homey, one of the two, I'm not sure. He said that, you know, basically they're coming for the residential real estate agent, right? And I don't think that realtors quite understand that. We're so focused on the micro. We're so focused on the day-to-day. We're so focused on, oh my God, we're in a hot market. I'm getting 30 offers on one house. Yes, that's today, but you're not looking at 18 months from now. And you're not looking at the amount of money that is being poured into residential real estate. I don't think people understand that Open Door lost $320 million last year. And that's not a big deal for them because they had this endless supply. I don't think people understand in general, right? That like Tesla, we've got all these massive industry changing companies that lose billions of dollars. And it's geared at changing an industry. And so I think
disrupted.
Exactly.
They're trying to disrupt. Yep.
100%. And so what people don't understand is that is exactly what is happening in residential real estate. And so anyway, get off my little tangent there for a second, get back to your question. So we created Zoodlio to empower the residential real estate agent to fight back against these bullies, take our power back, right? The consumer needs us. We are just an instrumental force in them making great decisions. And so what Zoodlio does, it's an instant cash offer website that spins up for any subscriber to the platform. And they then get this instant cash offer. It comes with a complete management backend for the agent. And what's also cool is there is a consumer portion to this. It gives the seller an offer dashboard and digital space where they can, get and compare instant cash offers on their home, view them alongside a offer to list the home from the real estate agent. And we have some other cool products too. Like we have a trade-in product, and we can also turn buyers into cash buyers. So we're pretty stoked about our software. We have raised $10 million to fund the programs. So we're able to, do the trade-in and offer these instant cash offers. Because a lot of real estate agents too, they're just like, oh my gosh, I don't even know where I could get an instant cash offer. So the software does come with the ability to get the Zoodlio instant cash offer as well.
That's awesome. Wow, how exciting. That is great.
Now, where did you come up with this name?
Well, so that Zoodlio is, many people have heard, Zillow open door offer pad, right? So it's kind of like a zoo. It's a zoo out there. And, people say like, what's the dealio?
Yep. Right.
And so it was something that actually my husband, he's our chief marketing officer for Zoodlio. My husband came up with it. He's extremely clever, and we wanted a monkey too. We wanted a monkey in our logo because they're just so cute. We were, it worked.
It's a very good technique. It's very clever. It's easy to remember. You could definitely spin it in many different ways. So yes, and it's fun. So great job. Good job.
I'll let you know. Very cool. Yeah, I'm glad you guys like it. That's cool feedback. Yeah, so we launched the software about a month ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's really new. We do have, we've got our first trade-in going, so that's kind of fun. And we've got early subscribers. We signed up a really large team here in the Phoenix area. So yeah, we're really excited about it.
Wow. Well, we wish you all the best with that. I know that it's going to be fabulous. And I actually spend the winters in Arizona. So I'm in Arizona at the moment. So I'm very familiar with your market.
Oh, very cool. Whereabouts are you?
Scottsdale.
Right on. Right on.
So, well, lovely. Obviously, Arizona is amazing, and your market is just booming. So it's I wish you all the best with that. It's going to be
amazing. I was going to say, I think I saw a post on Facebook the other day about, the market in Arizona, and there was a line for an open house around the corner of the block. And, there was people on there thinking, they're like, I'm thinking about selling my house, for 20, 30,000 more than it's, technically worth, and go renting a place until it becomes a buyer's market, because there's so big a turnout for every open house that I could that I was seeing.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And actually, that was one of our agents that posted that, and it kind of went viral. Yeah. So you're 100%. There were like 100 and something people lined up to see this house, and it's insane right now. But, I think, again, like we talked about, the pendulum swings both ways. And, we're really up right now. And, what's that going to look like coming down? And, I don't think we're going to have the level of fallout that we've had in the past. But there's definitely going to be some micro corrections. And when, and, what's that going to look like, right? Time will tell, I suppose.
So what are you doing for your agents to help them plan for that? Are your agents going out and buying brand new houses and cars, and they just got a new NBA contract, or are you helping them understand that this isn't going to last forever?
Well, I think that, here's the thing is that there's a huge amount of demand. But the interesting thing is because of the low inventory, sales kind of are relatively low right now. And so actually what we're seeing is that agents are I mean, it's a hard time. It's hard right now, right? You get a $500,000 buyer and you can't get them into a house. It's just so frustrating.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
So I think that the ones that are doing really well, you absolutely plan for the future and don't overextend yourself, and make sure you're diversifying. And, and even I know like 12 months ago, I was telling all of our agents, if you have the ability to go buy a second home, go start a new build, all of those strategies as well, so they can kind of get in on this wealth creation at the moment. And, I think that I think I said this before, what I've really learned is that agents are focused on the micro. They're focused on the day-to-day. And it's really difficult to get to shift them from, looking and working in their business to working on their business. And so I think that, if there was a kind of a gift that I could impart upon all of us, it would be to really focus on working on your business. When we're always working in our business, there's not going to be a lot of growth and longevity.
100%. Yeah, the real estate and mortgage industry, we tend to get caught up in the Smith transaction, the Smith family. And you're correct. You can't see the big picture when you're working so close on a transactional level. So very good. Now, obviously, you guys are not in that situation. That's why you're diversifying. And that's why you're doing the tech side. And that's why you're kind of all over in different aspects. And that's phenomenal. All right. So, Kayla, we could keep going for days. You have such great insights, absolutely amazing advice. And you certainly are planning for the future while you're working on today. So thank you for all of these leadership insights. They have been incredible. So, we mentioned in the introduction that you would love for people to connect to you. So how can people learn more about you and everything that you're doing?
Oh, thank you so much, Laura. I really appreciate you. And wow, you are such a great broadcaster, by the way. So awesome. Thank you so much for having me. And Mitch, appreciate you taking a chance, reaching out and inviting me on the podcast. Appreciate you guys so much. And if you would like to connect with me, the best way to do so is to hit me up on Instagram or Facebook. It is my name, Kayla Laos. That's KALALAOS.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Be
All
well.
Right. Thank you guys.
Continued success always.
Appreciate you. Bye-bye.